Hey there! I know that with this video I'm gonna piss off a lot of my subscribers because I know many of you are feminists. I'm gonna focus on feminism in the West, and I'm not even gonna touch the problem of women oppression in Middle East or under Islamic culture. I think I have made my point clear enough about that in other videos. Now, I am a feminist in my own way in the sense that I believe in equal rights for men and women, and I think we are equally valuable as human beings. But I do usually avoid to describe myself as a feminist because of the implications that this word has, and now more than ever after I saw a bunch of videos made by feminists that I strongly disagree with. I will try to address the main issues point by point. So, first, the pay gap. I'm not gonna give numbers as they differ from country to country, but generally speaking, men are paid more than women for the same jobs. But should we immediately assume that this is because of discrimination? By looking at some other statistics, we can see that this is not necessarily the cause of the pay gap. First point. Men work more hours per week than women for the same jobs. Depending on the job and also on the country, a man will work from 3 up to 8 hours a week more than a woman, doing the same thing. Second point, women take more days off than men. Third point, again, for the same job, men tend to take more risks and work in more hazardous situations than women. For instance, if it is a field work, men will be more willing to stay out in the snow, in the blizzard, in the rain, in the heat, and so on. Another point that I don't like but I do have to bring on is that in a large number of fields, men do tend to respect more the deadlines and be more productive than women. Men working in IT departments, also surgeons, also software professionals and so on. And you see, if you really believe that women are just as competent as men for the same jobs but are paid significantly less, you will have to ask yourself, why would anybody hire men? Why would any business owner whose goal is to make a profit be willing to pay more money to get the same results? Now, by no means does this imply that women are less capable than men, but we do have to admit that women are generally more family-oriented. And this is right in your face when you look at the statistics, because never married women who do not have children earn more than married women or women who have children. And what is more striking is that never married women earn more than never married men. And this shows so obviously that the women who are really dedicated to their careers are just as capable and sometimes even more capable than men. The women in engineering computer science earn more than men. And same goes for the women who are investment bankers. And now you could say, oh, but the society puts pressure on the women to take care of the family. They are expected to raise the children, and that's not fair. And to this I could say, oh, but the society puts pressure on the men to be the provider, to make good money, to be successful. And that's also not fair. And you could also say, oh, but a woman should be able to have a successful career and a good family life. The state should provide some kind of social service for the children to be taken care of while she dedicates herself more to work. While I know that the social service in most places sucks, I honestly don't think that this will solve the problem. I don't have any kids, but I do have a brother who's 14 years younger than me. And I know what it means to take care of a child. Even when you have a babysitter, the kid will fall down and break his hand and you will have to rush to the hospital to be with him. He will get sick and have a fever and he will not want some babysitter with him. He will want his mommy. I keep on hearing feminists saying that there are so much more CEOs men than women. But you know what it takes to be a good CEO? 10 to possibly 12 hours of hard work every day where you have to jungle all these offers in your head and compare markets and so on. How can you do that and be fully focused when your kid is calling you, telling that he needs you, he's in trouble? You go home after all those hours of work and your head is still full of problems and you're exhausted and you will have to pay attention to him. You will have to help him with his homework. You will have to pay attention to his little dramas that he had at school and with his friends. If you really think that you can do both and be successful at both, you really have no idea what you're talking about. The women who manage to do this are rare exceptions.
Oh yeah? But then how come men get to do it?
Let me ask you something, because I hear many feminists saying, I pay for my own food, I buy my own clothes, which I'm sure you do. I'm definitely sure you do. But I have another question for you. How many of you are fully willing to support your husband from your salary? Let's say that he earns 40% less than you. Or even better, let's say that he doesn't have a job. So he stays home and cooks and cleans and takes care of the children. Would you be willing to pay for everything? From the rent, the bills, the food, to his very own personal needs. His clothes, his aftershave, his go-outs with his buddies for a beer. And most importantly, still respect him as your man. I'm telling you that most women will not be happy with that. Sorry for the sudden change of scenery, I had to plug in my camera. The thing is, I don't think this is happening because we are living in a sexist society. I know there is social pressure, but for both men and women in different ways. And I think that the roles can be reversed. I mean, there are men who are very good at staying at home and raising the children, but the point is, how many of you women really want that? And moving on with the topic a bit, I have heard so many feminists bringing on statistics like over 90, I don't know what percent of all the rape case victims are women. This happens for two reasons. First, it is very hard, if not physically impossible, for a woman to rape a man, therefore the majority of the rapists will be men. And second, the majority of men are straight, therefore their victims will be women. This doesn't imply discrimination, this just means that some people are violent fucks. I could bring on statistics like that. Over 90% of all the people who die at work are men. Does that mean that men are socially oppressed? No, this just happens because men are physically stronger, they take on more risks, they join the military and the marine and they go to wars and so on. And the same thing goes for the statistics of the domestic violence, that the majority of the victims of domestic violence are women. This happens because men are physically stronger. I know a lot of women who, if they could, they would beat the shit out of their husbands. The society as a whole is not sexist, because the society doesn't approve of this. Men get punished for doing that stuff. And since I got into all this, do you know that there are actually many men who are abused by their wives or their partners in their house? I mean, some women do throw things at them, do hit them, and they do not fight back, and they do not report them, because people would laugh at them if they did that. For a man, it is embarrassing to admit that he has been brutalized by a woman. People will just tell him to man up. And there is of course this other issue with the anti-abortionists. I know that they fight, they try every year to take away women's rights to their own bodies. But I don't think this is a feminist issue. I think this is a human rights issue. The pro-lifers aren't pushing this because they are misogynists. They're pushing this because they are religious nuts, and many of them are females. Also, the feminists are complaining about the lack of women in the politics arena. Why there are so many men and so few women politicians, and again they say this is discrimination, and again I disagree. The surveys show that for every woman who wants to be a politician there are 8 to 10 men who want to take that job. So obviously there are gonna be more men than women, since not many women wanna do it. And we even see that sometimes in politics women are promoted for being women, because they need them, because so many voters are women. I mean, we saw what happened with Sarah Palin. I mean, seriously, it's not hard to make claims like this. I could do it. Look how many more females are dentists, and how much more the women dentists earn compared to the male dentists. Same goes for massage therapists and talk show hosts and nursery school teachers, and I could go on and on. This doesn't show anything. This just shown that men and women are sometimes attracted to different working fields. And by the way, I'm not trying to undermine the role that the feminist movement has had in history and still has right now, but to claim that in the Western society women are oppressed is just untrue. If you look at things from this point of view, a woman who gets pregnant can't have the child or have an abortion. And the man can't really have a saying in this. And this is how it's supposed to be, because it is her body. But that doesn't change the fact that he has less rights. And I could just go on forever about this, because there are so many things, even little things. For instance, if a woman is called a cunt, she will be very offended. And she's right to be that way. I mean, it is an offensive word. But she will go as far as saying that, oh, you reduced me to my genitals. But what if you say to a man, you're a dick? Will he be equally offended? Well, maybe he will be offended, but I don't think you will hear him saying, you reduced me to my genitals. Men don't think that way. Where I want to go with this is that you cannot be a strong, powerful, determined woman and in the same time victimize yourself like this, especially when you're put in the same situations as men. And I also don't deny that there is sexism in the society, because there is. If we are abused or harassed or discriminated, we have the legal means to fight it. Okay, I'm gonna end it now, but I wanna make my final point in this career versus family issue, because this is the most talked about. The way I see it, a woman has 3 choices. You can choose to focus on your family, in which case your career will probably suffer. Or you can choose to dedicate yourself to your career and forget about raising a family. Or the third option, you can do both, but with a partner who will not be successful himself, and he will be dedicated to the family. And whether you want to admit it or not, those are the exact same options that a man has as well.